Today's tutorial is the pattern of a classic granny square. In a classic granny square, we use what we call granny clusters. So we are going to learn what is a granny cluster and how it is represented in the symbol, and we are also going to read this pattern with the help of a few simple crochet symbols. So for that, first we are going to learn the basics symbols that are used here. The first one is a dot sign, which is the symbol for a slip stitch. The next oval shape is for chain, and next symbol for double crochet is an extended T with a slant cut in the middle. So these are the structure. These are the symbols which are going to be repeated in this pattern. So we start here in the center, like we do with all granny squares. We chain 3, and here is a sign of a slip stitch, a small dot. So that means we are going to chain 3 and put the slip stitch into the first chain. For round 1, we see this small arrow, and the direction of the arrow is towards left. So that means we are going to proceed to make the sign, make this round in anti-clockwise direction. So to begin the round 1, we are going to chain 3, and then we are going to put 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet into the magic circle in the center. Then we are going to chain 2. Again we are going to put 3 double crochets into the center, followed by chain 2, 3 more double crochets into the center, followed by chain 2, and again 3 more double crochets into the center, followed by chain 2. Now a granny cluster is a combination of 3 double crochets together in the same stitch, and it is represented by this symbol, where 3 double crochet signs, if you look here, 3 double crochet signs are joined together at the base. So that means they are put into the same stitch. So here 1, 2 and 3, symbol of a double crochet joined together at the base. So for the first round we had 1, 2, 3 and 4 granny clusters separated by 2 chains in between them. The first granny cluster comprises of a chain 3. This chain 3 is considered as a first double crochet. So when we reach here to at the end of the first round, we are going to put a slip stitch, and it is here in the top chain of the chain 3. The second round, the arrow symbol is this, in this direction towards the right, means it will go clockwise. The second round will be done clockwise. So again, after putting a slip stitch, we chain 3, we put 2 more double crochet into the last chain 2 space of the last round. Then we chain 2 and we put another granny cluster or a group of 3 double crochets together in a chain 2 space. So this is what we are going to repeat, and then we are going to put chain 1. Then again we reach the corner, chain 2 space. In this we are again going to put 1 granny cluster, chain 2, the next granny cluster, chain 1, and again we reach the next chain 2 space. Here again we are going to repeat the pattern for the corner, granny cluster, chain 2, granny cluster, chain 1, and again we make another corner. After making the last chain 1, we are going to slip stitch into the top chain of the chain 3. This ends our round 2. Now our third round is going to proceed in the direction of the arrow. In crochet patterns with symbols, there is always an arrow sign which is given in the beginning of the pattern and in the every consecutive chain or round, which shows in which direction the design will proceed. So here this will go as the round 1. So in this pattern we alter the direction. First we go anti-clockwise, then we go clockwise, again we are going to go anti-clockwise, and then again we are going to go clockwise. So this way you can repeat this pattern for any number of rounds depending upon your design, and you can use any number of colors for each round. So for the third round again we are going to make chain 3, put 2 double crochet, chain 1, and we reach the chain 2 space of the last round. In this pattern we are always going to put the corner in chain 2 space of the previous round, and the corner pattern is granny cluster, chain 2, granny cluster in the same chain 2 space. And in the middle of 2 granny clusters we are going to just put 1 chain. So in this way our granny cluster will, the number of our granny clusters will increase and the size of our square will also increase. So in this round we have 1 granny cluster between 2 corners, and this granny cluster has chain 1 on both the sides. Corner has 2 granny clusters with a chain 2 between them, and this way we are going to finish round 3. Again we are going to put a slip stitch on the top chain of the round 3, and then for fourth round we are going to go in the clockwise direction like in round 2, and we are going to put chain 3, 2 double crochet in the chain 1 space. So here what has happened, we are increasing the number of granny clusters in this round. So we are going to put 1 granny cluster in the chain 1 space of the round 3. Then we put chain 1, then we reach the chain 2 space of round 3. Here we are going to put our corner. Our corner pattern is 1 granny cluster, chain 2 and 1 granny cluster all in the same chain 2 space. Then we chain 1, put a granny cluster in chain 1 of the previous round, again chain 1, again there will be 1 chain space of the third round, so we will put here a granny cluster, and then we reach chain 2 space, and chain 2 space we are going to put a corner which is granny cluster, 2 chains and a granny cluster. So the pattern is wherever there is 1 chain space we are going to put 1 cluster, and wherever we have chain 2 space we are going to put a corner.